Good morning, everyone. Good morning, Jai Hind, Namaskar. So I hope all of you are doing well. Good morning, everyone, and welcome to this session of daily editorial analysis. So I hope I am properly audible and visible to all of you. Tough season in NCR. Okay. Homework done, but I take 35 minutes to write both answers. Okay, how many of you have written the answers? Last day I have given you two questions. So how many of you have written the answer for that? आप में से कितने लोगों ने आंसर लिखा है? How many of you have written the answer? Many of you were asking for this. Okay, sir, how to begin the answer writing, how to start answer writing. So now we have started this session where we are having some questions, having some topics on daily basis. Okay, so some of you have written answer. What about all other people? Now you cannot forget it. Say, I am waking up every day in the morning at 5 a.m. to have your classes. You cannot forget it. We will discuss about the question. Dekho, initially, even if you are taking 35 minutes, set a benchmark today. Himanshu, set a benchmark today. You have taken 35 minutes. So next day when you are writing the answer, try to reduce it to 30 minutes. Then try to bring it to 28 minutes, 26 minutes, and gradually you will be able to bring it well under 20 minutes. Okay. You will be able to complete it in 16, 17, 18 minutes also in future. So when you have started, yes, you will take time. But gradually, when you are writing on regular basis, in just next 10 days, you will find this one change. You will find this one improvement in you where you are able to write the answers in less than 20 minutes. You have also done good. Share from Hindi medium. So in Hindi medium, we are also having classes. In Hindi medium also, we are having classes. Now let's start. See, first we will look at the part here. Evaluate the impact of, I told you last day that we will discuss one question. Evaluate the impact of climate change on human health. Do you think one health approach can help to manage the impact of climate change on health? 250 words. Of course you can add that. Of course you can add that self-medication is also one of the reason. So you can add that part. Now see here. So here we have this one thing, evaluate. Evaluate the impact of climate change on human health. Last day we have discussed in detail about this. Last day we have discussed in detail about this. First of all, if we have to write the introduction, you can start with some facts. You can start with some of the facts related to impact of climate change on human health. तो आप में से कितने लोगों ने फैक्ट के साथ शुरुआत की है? How many of you have started with some fact with respect to the impact of climate change on health? देखो, this is a question which will be from GS paper 2 or GS paper 3. ये GS paper 2 या GS paper 3 में पूछा जाएगा. So first thing is, when you are starting, you have to start with some facts. You have to give some idea. You have to give some examples that how this climate change is impacting the human health. You can give some facts, some data with respect to that. तो पहला काम हमें क्या करना है? तो we have to give some facts. Then what you will do? You will make a subheading: impacts of climate change on health. Impacts of climate change on health. And then now you have two options. Last day I have shown you that you can make a flow chart also. But if you are not comfortable with the flow charts, You can write it point wise also. In point wise section, when you are writing it, try to make subheadings. Try to make subheadings. Like last day when we were discussing about this topic, we have seen that there is an impact. There is an impact on pollution levels. Okay. How it is impacting the pollution level, how it is impacting the heat stress. Okay. The first part will be, you will be giving the subheadings here that how it is impacting pollution and फिर pollution से क्या problem है. Second part is heat or excessive heat and फिर उससे क्या problem है. Then you will mention about the flooding और उससे क्या problem है. In same manner we have discussed multiple domains of it. हम लोगों ने अलग अलग domains discuss किया था कि how the climate change is impacting the human health. Climate change कैसे impact कर रहा है. So I think each of the parts, each of the segments we have discussed there, आप उसको एक एक करके point wise लिख सकते हो. I think till this part you may not have found any such challenge. यहां तक आने में तो कोई challenge नहीं हुआ होगा. Now coming to the second part. Second part is saying, do you think One Health approach can help to manage the impact of climate change on health? Okay. तो पहला portion तो आपने लिख लिया कि how the climate change is impacting the human health. Now you have to talk about One Health approach. So what you have to do, you have to make a flow chart. पहले आप One Health approach को एक diagram से explain करो कि what exactly is One Health approach, what are the components of One Health approach. Last day we have discussed this part कि what is One Health approach, what are the components of it, okay. We are looking at human health, we are looking at the health of animals, we are looking at the health of the ecosystem. This is a sustainable integrated manner of approaching health. तो ये एक पार्ट है कि वन हेल्थ अप्रोच में क्या क्या है. एनिमल्स, ह्यूमंस एंड इकोसिस्टम, ऑल दीज थ्री थिंग्स आर इंक्लूडेड. नाउ द क्वेश्चन कम्स टू दिस पार्ट कि डू यू थिंक इट कैन हेल्प टू मैनेज द इंपैक्ट ऑफ क्लाइमेट चेंज ऑन हेल्थ. अब इसका आंसर आपने क्या लिखा है. आई वॉन्ट टू नो फ्रॉम योर साइड कि हाउ यू हैव रिटन द सेकेंड पार्ट ऑफ द आंसर. How you have written the second part, कैसे आपने इसमें लिखा है. देखो, there will be two aspect of this answer. इस आंसर के दो एस्पेक्ट होंगे. that how it will be able to manage, ये मैनेज कैसे कर सकता है. तो there will be two aspect. One thing is we are looking at the spread of zoonotic diseases. जो हमने देखा कि if we are looking at this, how One Health can help, we can understand about the rise of zoonotic disease. We might try to contain it. Okay, zoonotic disease ko. We might also be looking at the health of the ecosystem. We may look at the emerging cases of public health challenges for humans. So it is mostly that we will try to work on the side of animals or zoonotic diseases. We will be working for the healthy ecosystem, and we will also be working on monitoring the human health, the public health, the human health. Okay. ये तीन grounds पे हम काम करने की कोशिश करेंगे. But now the question is saying, can help to manage the impact of climate change on health. ये partially yes है, partially no है. Okay. Partially yes, partially no. The first part we will say that how it is going to help. But then we have to understand this part that only this one approach cannot remove the entire impact of climate change. Okay. So here you will give another subheading that apart from One Health approach, there is a need to focus on addressing the root cause of climate change. Apart from this One Health approach, there is a need to focus on addressing the root cause of the issue of climate change. तो उसमें हम फिर इंटरनेशनल कोलैबोरेशन, नेशनल एफर्ट्स एंड बाकी चीजों के बारे में लिख सकते हैं कि वी नीड टू हैव सम international collaboration on climate, we need to have the national priorities in order to mitigate the impact of climate change. So this is one part where again you will have to mention कि चलो हाँ इस approach से हो सकता है, but it is not addressing the root cause of the problem, that is climate change. Okay. So this is one part which you will have to add. Okay. So I think this part is clear कि हाँ इस question का जब हमें answer लिखना है तो how many parts will be there? How many parts will be there? First part will be impact of climate change. Second part will be a diagram. Third part will be how it is managing. पहले ये manage कर रहा है उसकी part. Then other challenges, and then you can mention the conclusion part. Here you can emphasize upon One Health, and at the same time you can also mention about the India's commitment to Paris Treaty. Okay. You can also mention about India's commitment to Paris Treaty. So I hope now you can write this answer again. Is there any word limit for writing an answer? There is word limit, 250 words. There is a word limit, 250 words. So try to do this one thing. From your side. Whenever you are writing answer, one thing which matters a lot is representation. आप खुद सोच कर देखो. If you have added a diagram, if you have added subheadings, then the person who is evaluating your answer, the person who is reading your answer will have a greater clarity. क्या चीजें चाहिए आपको आंसर में? Content, representation. You need two things, content and representation. That you should have the necessary content, you should have the well represented answer. यही दो चीजें चाहिए होती है आंसर में. So I hope in further sessions you will be writing answer again in a much more better manner. So let's see. So again, this is one part which I will like to suggest you. See, it is a small step. It's not that in one day you are going to write a wonderful answer. And it's tough also to wake up in the morning. But again, as Dr. APJ Abdul Kalam said that, if you are dreaming about becoming an IAS officer, you cannot dream it in the night. You have to dream it when you are awake. You cannot dream about it when you are sleeping. You have to dream about it. You have to work for it when you are awake. Okay. So on daily basis, if you are taking a small steps, then in just over next 15 to 20 days, 30 days, you will find the difference. So let's start our session. The first topic here is delimitation, women reservation and political dynamics. Okay. So there are certain terms. पहले हम उन terms के बारे में बात करेंगे. Sir, please guide any specific proportion for this type of question where we will have two sub question or it should be equal. It depends on the nature of the question. ये धीरे धीरे आपको समझ में आएगा. It depends on the nature of the question. In some questions there is a requirement of equal weightage. In some question there may be slightly tilted in favor of one part and less in other part. So it will come with experience. ऐसा कोई fixed formula नहीं है. It comes with the experience. Now, let's start. So we are having two terms. One term is delimitation. One of the term here is delimitation. And second term is women reservation. Women reservation. So what is delimitation? Delimitation is an act of redrawing the boundaries or increasing the number of seats, increasing the constituencies in order to ensure there is equal representation for equal section of the or equal segment of the population. Okay. So this is an exercise. Okay. This is something which is an exercise to ensure equal representation equal representation of equal segment of population. So you may be aware about this, that we have an option of having a delimitation commission after every census. After every census, we can have a delimitation commission. But this has been put on freeze since 1970s itself. Why? Initially, there were 3 delimitations carried out till 1971 census. It was seen that some of the states which were having higher population increase, they were getting the benefit, while other states who were working on population control, they were getting the loss. They were in fact suffering the loss. Since they were working on development, they were working on population control, they started suffering loss. So delimitation was put on freeze in the 1970s itself. Now there is again a question on delimitation. The population had changed enormously. In 1971, the population was near about 55 crore. Now it is near about 150 crore. So population had changed enormously. Okay. And there is a need of increasing the representation, increasing the participation or increasing the representation in Lok Sabha and other assemblies. Now at the same time, when we talk about women reservation, this is also one thing which is going on. We have the 106th Amendment Act. 106th Amendment Act. It has promised 1/3 seats. It has promised 1/3 seats to be reserved for women. It has promised that 1/3 seats will be reserved for women in all categories. In all categories. Okay. So what we see that there are 2 things which are going on: delimitation and women reservation. Now coming to this one part. First of all, let us talk about the delimitation. So there is a proposal. There is a proposal. The proposal is to raise the number of seats, in all states by 50%. हर स्टेट में 50% से चेंज कर देना. That we are increasing the number of seats in all the states by 50%, irrespective of the population. Here, irrespective of population. Here we see that it is irrespective of population. Irrespective of population. Now here, if we talk about this, that what is the balance or what is the benefit? What is the benefit of this proposal? Basically, it is like, it seems to be no loss, no gain. No loss, no gain. If we look at it prima facie, it appears that there is no loss, no gain. Proportionality has been maintained. Proportionality has been maintained. So we see that everyone is getting the same amount of seat. So proportionality has been maintained. That if all the states are there, if there was an unequal increase, अगर unequal increase होता, तो then there would have been a question that some states are getting the favor, some states are suffering the loss. But there is an equal increase in the number of seats of all the states. Everyone is having a uniform increase of 50%. There is another benefit that the people will have more representatives. People will have more representatives. Now there will be more representatives. Their voice, their demands will be going up in the Lok Sabha. the representation of the people will be enhanced. The representation of the people will be enhanced in the Lok Sabha. Okay. But there is a challenge here. What is that challenge? Let me show it to you. Okay. That when we are talking about the challenge, okay, that what challenge will be there? If we are having a 50% increase, Uttar Pradesh and Bihar, they can have 180 seats, while the 5 southern states, Karnataka, Kerala, Tamil Nadu, Andhra Pradesh and Telangana, combined together may reach around just 195. So there are 2 states with 180 seats and 5 states with a combined seat of just 195. So you can understand this. In our country, we are following the first past the post system. And here, the number of seats matter a lot. Here, the number of seats matter a lot. So if one political party is able to concentrate on 2 states of India, they can forget about the 5. They don't have to go for that much rallies. They don't have to go for that much emphasis on 5 states combined together. So again, what we see that the concern of the southern states remains unaddressed. This is one of the challenge. The concerns of southern state. The concerns of southern states. This is something which remains unaddressed. This is something which remains unaddressed. तो इनका जो कंसर्न है वो कहां सॉल्व हो रहा है? This concern of the southern states, they are remaining unaddressed. So this is one of the major challenge, that how they will be getting this benefit. How they will be getting this benefit. So this is one part of the editorial. इस editorial में 2 चीजों पे discussion हो रहा है. There is a discussion on 2 parts. Delimitation and women reservation. The first part was delimitation. Now coming to second part. But second part में आने से पहले, let's see this one previous year question on this topic. इस topic से related एक previous year question है, उसको देखना. Explain the constitutional perspective of gender justice with the help of relevant constitutional provision and case laws. This was a question in 2023. Many of you asked me a question, कि sir, how do we prepare notes for the mains examination? कि हम notes कैसे बनाएं, mains के लिए notes कैसे बनाया जाए? So this is how we have to make the notes. You have taken a topic of women justice. You have seen the question. You have seen they are asking about constitutional perspectives. Okay. They are asking about constitutional provisions, case laws. Okay. So it means when you are preparing for the topic of women, you have to prepare that what are the constitutional provisions for gender justice in India? What are the case laws for gender justice in India? This is how you have to make the notes. तो पहले तो हमें ये देखने को मिला कि इस टॉपिक से PYQ क्या आया है. Now coming to this one part, 106th Amendment Act. Just one second. ये image blur हो गया है. Okay. See. This 106th Amendment Act, this has also been called as Nari Shakti Bandhan Adhiniyam. So we have seen 1/3 of seats in Lok Sabha and Vidhan Sabha, they have been reserved for women. Okay. But its implementation is deferred until after the next census and the delimitation. Okay. So here the part is that we are going to get this reservation for women once the census is carried out, once the delimitation is carried out. Then only there can be representation of women in Lok Sabha, 1/3 representation. Now there are certain challenges. We will first look at what are the possible benefits and what are the challenges in its implementation. So now tell me, what are the possible benefits? इसके benefits क्या क्या होंगे? If we are having 33% reservation of women in Lok Sabha, what will be the possible benefit? जेंडर जस्टिस में क्या LGBTQ का रिप्रेजेंटेशन मेंशन कर सकते हैं? Yes, you can, but I will suggest you to make different notes on both topic. Make a notes on women, make a notes with respect to women separately, and make a notes with respect to LGBTQ community separately. तो दोनों को अलग अलग बनाओ. So tell me, what are the possible benefits here? If we are talking about reservation for women in Lok Sabha, so what are the possible benefits here? What are the possible benefits of reservation for women in Lok Sabha? Gender inclusive decision making policy, yes. Political empowerment, more women, more empowerment. Yes, there is one part which we see that empowerment of women, where we see that there is one thing called as empowerment of women. We see that this political empowerment, can lead to social empowerment. This one can lead to economic or financial empowerment. So what we see that this is the empowerment of women. This is one thing which is the empowerment of women. When you are writing answer, what you can do is you can make a flow chart like this. You can make a flow chart like this, that how the reservation for women in Lok Sabha or Vidhan Sabha can lead to empowerment of women. It can lead to political empowerment, social empowerment, as well as the financial empowerment. And this is going to create a virtuous cycle. This is going to create a virtuous cycle where one good thing will lead to another good aspect. So virtual cycle will be there. Then what we see that, like diversity in legislature, this diversity is going to bring inclusivity in decision making and policy formation. So diversity in legislature will lead to inclusivity in decision making and policy formulation. So that is also one added advantage. We have already seen that political, social and financial empowerment will take place. Okay. There is also this one part that it will bring more discipline in our legislature. A possibility of discipline in our legislature. Discipline in legislature. A discipline might also be there in our legislature. So this is also one part, although there have been some other trends also. We have seen that there have been some other trends also. There have been some women MPs who have also not behaved in a parliamentary manner from time to time. Okay. So what we see that this is one of the benefit, that somehow the discipline in legislature can improve. The discipline in legislature can improve in case of India. Okay. So these are some of the possible benefits. Okay. These are some of the possible benefits. Gender inclusive decision making. Okay. Society, फाइनेंशियल एम्पावरमेंट, पॉलिटिकल एम्पावरमेंट, ये सबको तो हमने एक साथ इंक्लूड करके देखा है. So we see that all these possible benefits are there with respect to women's participation in legislature. Okay. That the decision making, the policy formulation will improve. there will be somewhat more discipline in the legislature. So this is one of the part. Even the representation, okay, like half of the population, half of the population, half of the population will have a better representation, a better representation. So this is one part. Discipline in what sense? Discipline like there will be less throwing of chairs. There will be less throwing of chairs in many of the legislative assemblies. हमने देखा कि कई legislative assembly में we have got MLAs who are throwing chairs on other people, who are throwing objects on other people. There have been multiple such issues where people have been fighting with each other in legislature. So there are multiple such videos. तो कम से कम ये तो कम होगा. At least this is what will be reduced somewhat. We can expect that. हम लोगों ने वैसे वीडियोस काफी देखे हैं. Okay. Now, coming to this part, कि what are the challenges in its implementation? What are the challenges? Because women are very calm and disciplined. देखो, there are multiple claims on that. There are multiple views on that, that women are more calm. This is one part where there are multiple claims. Okay. Some claims may go against that part also, that women are more calm. Okay. We have seen women who are less calm also. हम लोगों ने less calm women को भी देखा है. Those who can be very much aggressive. But somewhat difference may be there. Okay. Now see, what are the challenges? The challenges is a possibility of pseudo empowerment. Such as Sarpanch Pati culture. A possibility of pseudo empowerment. There is a possibility of pseudo empowerment. So that is one thing which we can see here, that there is one of the challenge. Okay. Second thing is how the reservation is going to be implemented. How rotation, the rotation of seats, the rotation of seats will women get the new constituencies or some of the existing ones also? The women who are there, now there is a proposal, there will be increase in seat of the Lok Sabha, and this is roughly equal to the number of seats which are going to be reserved for women. There is a proposal that there is going to be an increase in the seat of Lok Sabha, and that number which has been proposed is roughly equal to the number of seats which are going to be reserved for women. So are we reserving new seats for women, or are we reserving the existing seats for women? How the rotation will be carried out? In a state where there is only 2 Lok Sabha seats, how are you going to ensure there is 1/3 representation? In a state where there is very limited number of seats, how are you going to ensure 1/3 reservation? Okay. In case of scheduled caste and scheduled tribes also, we have said that we will have 1/3 representation. So how you will ensure that? In a state where there is 10 total seats and 2 or 3 seats are reserved for scheduled caste or scheduled tribes. If only 1 seat is reserved for scheduled tribe in one state, how are you going to extend the benefit of reservation over there? So this is all part which is a challenging notion, how it is actually going to be implemented on the ground. The rotation of seats, whether it will be new seats or the existing seats. Okay. So this is one of the existing challenge. Okay. Then there is a question on competency versus reservation. There is a question on this competency versus reservation. Let's say there is a member of parliament who has worked for 5 years in his constituency. There is a member of parliament who has been working for 5 years in his constituency. Now he knows that after 5 years, this seat is going to be reserved for a woman. So what incentive that person will have to work for the 5 years? Let's say a person has been elected as a MP in 2029, but he knows that from 2034 to 2039, for 2 consecutive Lok Sabha elections, the seat is going to be reserved for women. So in this 5 year, why he would work? So there is again a challenge. Here there will be a competency versus reservation. Okay. If seats are reserved, if seats are getting reserved, then the motive for unreserved category. This is also one of the challenge, that what will be the motive for the unreserved category. Okay. Rotation means like, suppose in one state, let's say we have got 10 seats. Okay. 10 seats. One, two, three, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. One state we have got 10 seats. So let's say 3 of them have been reserved for women. 3, 4 and 5 they have been reserved for women. Okay. तो क्या ये हमेशा reserved रहेंगे? Will it be reserved forever? Or in future will it go to 6, 7, 8? In future will it go to 1, 2 and 5 or 1, 2 and 3 or 1, 2 and 9? How you will rotate this? किस तरीके से आप rotate करोगे? That remains one of the challenge. And if you are rotating it, what will be the incentive for the MP who is working on this constituency or this constituency? उसको अगर मालूम है कि they have been elected in 2029, but in 2034 they will have no such election option. उनके पास election का option ही नहीं होगा. So why that person is going to work for 5 years? Even let's say, even in 2039, if he is allowed to contest, in 2039, will the members of that Lok Sabha constituency remember his work for 10 years? क्या 10 वर्षों तक लोग काम को याद रखेंगे? लोग यहाँ 1 महीने पहले की बात भूल जा रहे हैं. तो how they are going to memorize it for 10 years? So this is one part which we see कि how it is a challenging aspect. तो इसीलिए इस पे मैं आपको एक क्वेश्चन भी यहां पर दूंगा. Okay. There is a question also. Do you think that women reservation in Lok Sabha can help to address gender discrimination for women in India? Justify. This is something which you have to write in 250 words. So this is the first article which you have to. Of course you can write it. Why you cannot write it? Usually, nay, we are talking about MPs who are very much honest, and we believe that all our MPs are very much honest. So on that behalf, I am saying, Nandini, on that behalf, I am saying that we believe that all our MPs are very much honest. They are dedicated to work towards the nation. तो हम लोग इस behalf पे काम कर रहे हैं. Now, coming to the second article, we have this second article, limits of neutrality in addressing caste. Limits of neutrality in addressing caste. This is related to UGC regulation. But first, see the previous year question. First, see this previous year question. Why is caste identity in India both fluid and static? Has caste lost its relevance in understanding the multicultural Indian society? Elaborate your answer with illustration. Caste system is assuming new identities and associational form. So it means caste is one of the very important topic for your mains exam. Caste जो है उस पे कई क्वेश्चंस आ चुके हैं in the UPSC mains examination. Year wise you can see there have been question on this part. Yearly there have been question on this one aspect. So if we look at this, here we are talking about GS paper 2, laws, institution and bodies constituted for protection and betterment of the vulnerable sections. Okay. This is related to GS paper 1 also and GS paper 2 also. In both cases, you have linkage with this topic. So what is the context? The context is this: UGC Promotion of Equity in Higher Educational Institutes Regulation 2026. Okay. So this is one of the most debatable, most controversial rule in India. Now, this is one of the argument from one side of author. इस author ने एक side से अपना argument पेश किया है. It is not the final part. Okay. There will be multiple claims, but we are discussing editorials. Editorials are often the viewpoint of one person. This is often the viewpoint of one person. So now see. So here we have the 226 regulations. It says that caste-based discrimination as discrimination based on caste or tribe against member of scheduled caste, scheduled tribes and other backward classes. Caste-based discrimination can only be against these people. It cannot be against any other people. So caste-based discrimination is only against scheduled caste, scheduled tribes and other backward classes as per the UGC rules. Okay. UGC ने जो regulations दी उसमें ये define किया गया कि what is caste-based discrimination. Now, what we see, it has been criticized. Why? It has excluded general category students. It has excluded the general category students. There is a proposal that there should be a caste neutral definition. A caste neutral definition. So there is a proposal that if we are talking about caste based discrimination, then this should be having a caste neutral. It should be caste neutral. It should be caste neutral, that everyone should be included, not just scheduled caste, scheduled tribes and other backward classes. There is a demand that general category should also be included as per Article 14 of the Constitution. So now this author says that why this is not possible. This editorial is talking about this one viewpoint, that why this is not possible or why this will not be actually a neutral law. Okay. So see, so here the argument of the author is that the Constitution is not mandating an abstract or one size fit all neutrality. Okay. So Article 15, it prohibits discrimination but also provides for a special provision. So the author says that it's not that the UGC has done it for the first time, that UGC has taken special steps for people belonging to scheduled caste, scheduled tribes, or other backward classes. It's not the first time. Even our constitution provides that there will be special provision for some category of the citizens. Okay. There will be special provisions for socially and educationally backward classes, scheduled caste and scheduled tribes. Our constitution also creates a positive discrimination. It provides for a positive affirmation, not discrimination, it is called as positive affirmation or affirmatory actions. Now what we see, formal equality says that discrimination operates symmetrically and all social groups require identical protection. But if we talk about formal equality, here there is an assumption that everyone is on the same level and everyone can be discriminated in the same manner. If we talk about discrimination in a dictionary meaning, अगर हम discrimination की बात करें dictionary meaning से या formally, तो then it says that anyone can be discriminated. But in actual, what we see that according to the author, the caste discrimination is structural and it is having hierarchy. Okay. It is having hierarchy. That in our country, everyone is not discriminated in the same manner. There is a hierarchy and they are discriminated accordingly. But it's not that the author is not accepting that there can be exceptional cases. So author says here that there can be individual cases where a person from general category can also be discriminated, but in general, the discrimination is for those people who are belonging to scheduled caste, scheduled tribes, or other backward classes. Okay. Then the author also says that if we are including the general category in caste neutral definition, okay, it will lead to collapse of this structural inequality. Okay. So what we see that if we are including general category also, then there will be no such there will be dilution of the UGC rules. There will be no such benefit of it. This will become a general grievance redressal framework, not a setup which is especially for a structural and institutional discrimination. कि कास्ट के कारण structural and institutional discrimination होता है. If we include general category also in the caste definition, then it will not be a special provision. It will just become a universal grievance redressal framework जिससे caste based discrimination को सही नहीं किया जा सकता. That is one of the argument of the author. Okay. Now here, if we talk about this, let's see some data. Okay. That if we talk about caste based discrimination, so what we see that according to the data by Union Minister of State for Education, 98 students have died by suicide in higher educational institutes between 2018 and 2023. What we see that the majority were from Dalit, Bahujan and Adivasi community. Okay. And the highest number of the suicides have come from IITs, NITs, central universities, IIM and others. So we see that there is a prevalence of caste based discrimination in our institutions. We see that there have been 98 suicides and the majority has come from those communities. Majority have come from the communities like Dalit, Bahujan and Adivasi community. So there is a caste based discrimination which goes on as per the data. Now if we look at the other data, there has been 1116 complaints. Okay. So this is one thing, that we are having multiple complaints in opportunity cell or SC and ST cells across universities. We see that there is an increasing number from 173 to 378 in 2000 23-24. It means more and more number of cases are coming up with respect to caste-based discrimination. So more numbers, more cases are being reported how caste-based discrimination is going on in our universities. So this is also one of the part of the story. While there is a demand that there should be a neutrality in universities, there is one side of it which suggests that neutrality will not be true equality. The neutrality in this case will not be true equality, because equality can be among equals. Equality can be among equals. But those who are unprivileged, those who are in a hierarchy at lower position, how they can be equal with the upper ones? So here the author is saying this part, that neutrality cannot be there. Neutrality cannot ensure equality in the campuses. If we are having a neutral rule, then it will be having no such equality in the campuses. So in a pyramid structure, there cannot be equality, correct? So this is one second editorial. Okay. Now coming to the third part. Okay. ये है आपके एग्जाम के लिए और अधिक relevant. Okay. UGC part is one thing on which we will have to wait and watch कि इस पे सुप्रीम कोर्ट का क्या फैसला आता है. There has been a stay on this order of UGC. There has been a stay on the regulations of UGC. So now this is a matter under jurisdiction. Many things will come up regarding this. Now here we are having this one thing, India's updated climate plays. Okay. Let me give you a context. The context is this. India announced its new pledges for fight against climate. For fight against climate change. India has got its new pledges for fight against climate change. Now, at the same time, critics, they say that it's not sufficient. It's not sufficient. So there are two parts of it. First, India has announced its new pledges for fight against climate change, and the critics say that it is not sufficient. They are saying that it is not sufficient. So let us see this part one by one. First, PYQ. Dekho. In 2025 itself, there was a question, write a review on India's climate commitment under the Paris Agreement and mention how these have been further strengthened in COP26. In this direction, how has the first NDC intended by India been updated in 2022? So this was one question in 2025. ये पहला क्वेश्चन आया 2025 में. You can see there was a question in 2021 itself. Describe the major outcome of 26th session of Conference of Parties to UNFCCC. What are commitments made by India in this conference? So again, there have been questions about these in the mains exam. Okay. तो इन दोनों पे questions पहले भी mains exam में आ चुका है. Now here we have again this one part कि India has announced its new pledge against the climate change. तो आप समझ सकते हो, it is related to GS paper 3, conservation, environmental pollution degradation and environmental impact assessment. So this is one of the part. Sir, when we are asked about review, are they asking about what policies have changed or its on ground impact? Both. You have to mention about both. You have to mention about the policy change, plus you have to mention about the ground report also. Like, when we talk about this, let me show you the NDC. When we talk about the NDC, first part was reducing emission intensity. The goal was 33 to 35% from 2005 levels. Okay. Goal 2 was share of non-fossil electric sources, that has to be around 40%. And the third part was creating additional carbon sink 2.5 to 3 billion ton over 2005 stock. This was the first set. The second part was here in 2022, where the goal was again 2030. Instead of 33 to 35%, it increased to 45%. And this share increased up to 50%. And here the carbon sink increased, remained same. Carbon sink same raha tha. So now if we look at the third NDC, it is 2035, 47%. Now the emission intensity has been increased up to 47%. Energy from non-fossil electric source is at 60%, and carbon sink is at 3.5 to 4 billion ton over 2005. तो ये चेंज हुआ. And what is the progress? अभी तक progress क्या है? We have a target of 47%. 36% reduction has been achieved by 2020. If we talk about 60% target, 52% has already been done by 2026. When we talk about 3.5 to 4 billion ton, 2.3 has already been created by 2021. So this is the progress also. What is our NDC and what is the progress which has been made with respect to that? तो अभी आपको दोनों चीजें लिखने को मिल सकती है. You can also write that what is the NDC 1, 2 and 3 plus what is the achievement on the ground. ये चारों चीजें हैं अब आपके पास. Now I think you have all these four things, that what is NDC 1, NDC 2, NDC 3 plus what are the achievements on the ground. अब इसमें कुछ भी क्वेश्चन आए, I think you can write that answer. Okay. So now we see that what is the argument. Okay. What is the arguments of the critics? Critics क्या बोलते हैं पहले ये देखते हैं. It says that targets are too conservative. Targets are too conservative and often represent a continuation of current rather than accelerated. कि हमारा targets बहुत less ambitious है. We are just continuing what we are doing. We are not accelerating it. We are not enhancing it. That is one of the critics. Okay. Despite cleaner energy goals, the plan does not include a firm coal phase out timeline and allows for continued expansion of coal based power. India is not going for coal phase out. There is a continued expansion of coal based power plants. That is the second criticism. Third criticism is this, that the actual energy generation from non-fossil source is very lower, around 25% itself. And the fourth part says that there is a reliability, there is a doubt on reliability of using forest as a carbon sink to meet target. They are saying that carbon sink which you are talking about is not reliable. So there are four major criticism of India's target. One of the criticism is it is too conservative. Second says that there is no coal phase out. Third says that the actual energy generation is very low. The capacity is 52%, but the actual energy is 25%. And the fourth one says that the carbon sink, it is not that much reliable. The carbon sink is not very much reliable. Okay. Now, so question is this, that should India increase it? Question is this part, that should India increase this? Should India increase the target? So a question will be like this, that do you think that India should increase its NDC? Do you think that India should increase the NDC? So what we see here now, see, when we talk about India, there are certain challenges. First of all, the renewable energy. This one requires battery storage capacity, which requires huge investment from public sector, and India is a developing nation with other priorities. तो अगर आप हमें बोल रहे हो कि रिन्यूएबल एनर्जी बढ़ाओ, सो वी रिक्वायर बैटरी स्टोरेज कैपेसिटी which requires huge investment. So what we will do? Can we leave our people suffering from hunger and focus on renewable energy? We have a huge population to feed. So should we leave them to stay hungry and we should divert that money for getting a battery? Then second part, hydropower system. There is a challenge which is there in competing uses like irrigation, regulatory challenge, and environmental vulnerability. You can say that go for hydro, but we have other challenges. We have to provide water for irrigation. We cannot store it in a dam for a longer period of time. We have irrigation. We have to irrigate our fields. We need timely supply of water. We need to also ensure the regulatory compliance. In our case, we have the NGT, we have the Supreme Court, we have many other institutions which will have an objection on large hydropower projects. Plus, at the same time, there is another part, environmental vulnerability. The area where we are going to create hydropower projects, they are prone to landslides, they are prone to earthquakes. So how are we going to manage that? It's not we have a flat land. We have a difficult terrain in which constructing of large hydropower projects is a challenging task. Okay. There is another part of it. India needs to expand its manufacturing and industry. We are a developing country. We are just going on that trajectory. So we cannot sideline it. We cannot remove it. We have to expand our manufacturing capacity. We have to expand our industry. And at the same time, urban transition, it has just started. So if you ask us that focus on renewable, focus on carbon sink, so European countries are already developed. US is already developed. Those countries who are asking for it, they have already contributed their share of pollution, and now they are asking us that don't go for development, go for environment. So that is another part. And then expansion in the provision of goods and services to population at adequate level beyond the minimum. We have to provide goods and services to our population. And it has not to be just at minimum level, but an adequate level. We are a developing nation, so we have got our own priorities. Okay. And at the same time, what we see, India's per capita emissions are 1/3 of global average. So if you are asking us to do more, then you have to realize this, that India's per capita emission are just 1/3 of global average. Okay. The largest historical emitter, they have walked out of all climate commitments. United States, they should be doing more. So they have walked out. No one is questioning them. But India is being questioned on this ground that our targets are not very much ambitious. Now see, so this is one part. At the same time, what we see, there has been rise of electric vehicles. There has been enhancement of energy efficiency. There has been promotion and deployment of non-fossil sources of electricity. There have been new technologies like green hydrogen and active promotion of carbon capture and storage. So we are already working on these platforms. We are already working on these parts. So India could not be asked for doing more. We have other priorities also. We have other priorities. We have other commitments. So that's why the way India is updating its NDC, they are formulated in informed self-awareness of its national circumstances. This is what Paris Agreement also says. Paris Agreement भी यही कहता है कि आप अपनी national circumstances के हिसाब से NDC को बनाएंगे. So India's NDC, they have been formulated in keeping in mind the national circumstances as outlined by the Paris Agreement. तो दैट इज आवर थर्ड आर्टिकल जिससे रिलेटेड ये क्वेश्चन है, इंडियाज क्लाइमेट कमिटमेंट फॉल्स शॉर्ट ऑफ ग्लोबल एफर्ट्स। ये क्वेश्चन है जिसका आपको आंसर लिखना है। क्वेश्चन नंबर 1, क्वेश्चन नंबर 2, कल हम लोग इस क्वेश्चन पे डिस्कस करेंगे। इंडियाज क्लाइमेट कमिटमेंट फॉल्स शॉर्ट ऑफ ग्लोबल एफर्ट्स कमेंट। I hope you can write this answer. So that will be all for today. Let's meet then in tomorrow's session. Okay. कल इसका आंसर लिख कर लाओ. And yes, we have started this editorial session. To do share it with all your friends, all your co-aspirants and your batch mates. Okay. So thank you so much everyone. Take care and all the best. Thank you.